Morning everyone and happy Monday. Not sure what day of the week you're going to see this, but I am, sorry, I'm just not holding this very still, yet again going to the bank to sort out some paperwork, and so I thought I would quickly take the time to record a video. I've just got myself a coffee because I really want to try the new Starbucks nut blend. It sounds so weird, I understand, I sound like a bit of a foodie wanker, but I really want to try it in the name of market research because I am about to launch my own nut milks, and so cheers. I've actually already tasted it. That was a bit cheeky, and do you know what? It is really creamy. It works perfectly with the coffee. They've I would say they've nailed it. And that might well become my new favourite drink. They also still don't let you use the reusable cups, so unfortunately my coffee is in a disposable. But anyway, that aside, I have now satisfied the urge to try the new nut milk. I'm just a sucker for trying any new plant-based food items. Anyway, I digress. Today I wanted to discuss something that is actually, I think it's quite important and potentially not discussed in the running world enough, because people probably don't want to talk about it because then others will call them out and say, hey you're overdoing it. So what I want to talk about is when I know that running has gone into the unhealthy zone for me, because I was chatting to my friend this morning, and as much as running is my absolute rock and my best friend and a massive aid in my mental well-being, it can also dip into the other side. So it can become too much and it can affect me in a negative way. Hold on a second, let me just get my notes. Sorry, I look like a bit like death warmed up. In saying all that, I did go for quite a long run this morning, and with my friend, which was awesome because it didn't feel that long. And you know those runs where you look at your watch and you're like, because you realise you've run way further than you thought you had, because I think her watch said something different to mine because she obviously started in a different place. And anywho, let's go. I'm in the car park here. Okay, so when running gets unhealthy for me, and something I want to keep being mindful about on this channel is that when I am talking, I'm talking about me and my experience. I'm not prescribing for anyone else. I'm not telling you when running is unhealthy for you. I am saying when running is unhealthy for me and my experience, in the hope that maybe others will recognize things in themselves that they might want to think about or change, or maybe not, because my things are not your things. Anyway, so I'm going to have 6 points here. So the first point is when I get a little too obsessed with the distances. There is an element of goals and a challenge, which I do believe are highly healthy for me. They're healthy for me, where I set myself weekly goals that relate to usually the distance I'm going to run. Sometimes I add in other things, like if I want to do more strength workouts or stretching, but in general, my goals relate to the distance I want to go. But sometimes I get caught in the cycle of thinking I need to do more than I did last week, or I need to try and do the same challenge or distance that someone else is doing. My body is my body, my goals are my goals, and my body and mind don't know what other people are doing. So that doesn't make sense. My mind does, because obviously I read it. But yeah, it's irrelevant basically. I need to set my own personal goals, and yes, seek motivation in others, but you don't have to copy them. So one is kind of a borderline, because I don't really think it's super unhealthy. I do know my own limits. So yeah, number one is when I get a bit obsessed with the distance. Number two is when I never take days off, and I always feel I have to do something, and I run 7 days a week. When I do that, I maybe can sustain it for a while, and I see loads of people doing challenges where they're like on day 1000 of whatever, run every day. For me, I do need days where I'm not running. I need to rejuvenate, and even just my mind needs a break from thinking, oh, when am I going to fit in my run today? Like, I feel more relaxed if I have a day where I don't have to think about that. So this is more when these things come together, they create the perfect or imperfect storm. It's not one in isolation, it's when they all kind of get too much together. So I'm not saying one of these is a thing for me, it's when all of them gang up on me. So yeah, number 2 is when I don't take days off. Number 3 is when I compare, I've already mentioned that, and try and keep up with other people who have a different fitness level, have a different goal. They're not leading my life, I'm not leading their life. I can be motivated by other people. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, I see that as a positive. But when I feel like I'm checking on Strava or Instagram to see what others are doing, I get a little moment of thinking, no, that's not good. So that's another one. Number 4 is when I don't notice the signs of tiredness, lack of energy, my body starts slowing down when I'm running, my speeds are just a lot less. Not that speed matters, but if my average speed really drops and I feel like I'm struggling, these are all little warning signs to me that... And when I get to a point in the day where I just literally feel like I've hit a wall and I have no energy, or I need to keep drinking coffee, that's another one. Number 5, a really important one and a key one for me, is when it affects my family. This to me is probably the biggest warning light, is when my husband or I notice myself being more snappy, I feel exhausted, I don't really have the same energy, I don't have the same patience, and I'm thinking about when I'm going to fit in my run. That to me is the biggest warning sign that I need to slow down, take it easy, and focus more on my family and my taking care of myself. And the final one, which I'm going to mention because I think it is really important, it doesn't really affect me now in my life now, but it did affect me in my 20s and in my late teens. Not that I was really running then, but it's when I consider what I'm eating in relation to my running / exercise. Like, if I think to myself, oh, it's okay, I've gone for a long run today, then I can have more to eat, or I haven't exercised today, therefore I shouldn't have that. That to me is a huge warning, almost as much as affecting my mood, although it doesn't really happen to me anymore because I have so many checks and balances. But as someone who did have a disordered relationship with food and exercise in my 20s, not really exercise, more food, I am very conscious of when I have these thoughts, or if I have these thoughts. And I think it's just important to check with yourself, check in on yourself. Your concerns and your signs of doing too much will probably be completely different to mine. But exercise should never be to compensate or as a kind of method. In my opinion, for me, it can never be a method of managing my weight, never. It has to only ever be for the enjoyment, for the joy, for the mental health benefits. And if I ever think to myself about what I've eaten, I have a complete conversation with myself and question why I'm running. I maybe don't run that day to challenge myself. I ensure that I eat the same amount regardless of whether I'm running or whether I'm not running. I never track any macros, calories, energy in, energy out, nothing like that, because I can't. For me, who I am, my body, my life, my experience, I'm not saying that's wrong for everyone, but for me, that's a big warning. So those are the 6 things. I feel like I'm in a place in my life where I can manage them quite well. I know when I'm pushing myself. Like this week, I had in my head I really wanted to get to 200 miles by the end of the month, but I know that if I try and achieve that, I will neglect other things, including myself. So I'm not going to try and do that. I've lowered my expectation and I've ensured I'm taking 2 days off. So those are my things. If any of that rings true with you, comment below. Let me know what, how you know when you're doing too much or when running tips into the unhealthy sphere. Maybe there's things I haven't thought about, but thanks for watching. I hope that was in some way helpful or insightful, or maybe just a little glimpse into someone else's running journey. I am off to the bank and to finish my delightful coffee. If you enjoyed my videos, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all soon.